Hello and welcome to Kicking Kickstarter with me, Jeccles. I am here with Isaac Shapiro and Scott Ferguson to talk about their comic book Kickstarter project, Shonen King. Hello.
Hey,
Hi, how are you?
thanks for having us.
That's alright.
Yeah, our project was kind of. I mean, me and Scott, we've known each other for a long time. We went to college together back in 2004.
2004 to 2008. Yeah.
Yeah, we were always really good friends, and we've always loved manga and anime. We love going to conventions like Otakon. In fact, Scott was the one who gave me my first introduction to great con culture, and took me to the Baltimore Otakon, which was the biggest anime manga convention of that kind in in the Baltimore area.
Yeah, he dragged me into shonen manga, and I reciprocated by taking him to his first couple conventions.
and we always loved cosplaying and dressing up as ridiculous things. We had a really great one where he said that I said, oh, we should totally go as Portal 2, people will love us, and he was like, no, I don't think that's gonna work, it's dumb. No, I'll be Potato Gladys, you'll be Cave Johnson, it'll be hilarious, just trust me. I haven't even played the game, I've never heard it, no one's gonna know what it is. And then Scott, what happened?
Yeah, okay, fine, we're in the middle of a photo shoot, that was lovely.
Oh, no, it wasn't that, it wasn't just that. Remember, there was a specific Portal-themed photo shoot, and they're all looking around saying, oh man, wish we had Cave Johnson, and then you were brought out to the front and center, gotten to be the center and the head attention of the photo shoot.
Okay, yeah, that was fun. But the point is, we've always really enjoyed anime. We've always really enjoyed that kind of nerd culture, and so we decided that we would like to not just consume, we'd also like to create.
Yeah, we
part of that as well.
We love, reading it. We still read shonen manga like One Piece, Naruto, Bleach. Well, not Bleach for Scott, but you get the idea. Read them each week as they're scan-lated, and it's something that spending so many years reading and passively observing the culture, we figured, why not take a crack at it and make our own parody version of it. And that's what the big 10-year genesis of Shonen King was. And, we figured we'd try and do something unique, because, there are hundreds and hundreds of comic book Kickstarters, but we figured that, how do we make ours, separate ours from the pack? What do we do that, can get us noticed? And we figured, why don't we do a pilot chapter that makes fun of pilot chapters and, links back to the Kickstarter campaign?
Yeah, and usually you'll see 1 or 2 pages, content art or something. And we're looking at this going, usually the focus is so much on the videos, and so many of them, including ours, to be honest, are just terrible. Just terrible. And really, especially for comics, the focus should be on comic. So we decided for a Kickstarter campaign, what we would do is just give people an entire pilot chapter. Save up as best we could, script and save, and provide people with a good 20-some pages of artwork and content. It's a little bit packed together and rushed because we didn't have a ton of money, and it should have been maybe 40 pages, was condensed down into 20, but instead give them a taste of what they would be getting as best we could, and basically say, here, if you like the work we're doing, please contribute, rather than, if you think our video is funny, or if you want to make a decision based on a couple sketches, maybe some color art.
We also wanted to poke fun at the current place that manga holds, because it's a really interesting contradiction. I'd say manga fandom is as fervent as ever. There's ridiculously huge international global audience, but generally in mainstream culture it's kind of overlooked. Right now we're in the age of the superhero, but if you go to a big, this year's New York Comic Con, you'd see a ton of Deadpools, but you'd see twice as many Attack on Titan cosplayers, all in the uniforms and the, little 3-dimensional movement gear running around. And we kind of wanted to poke fun at that, the fact that, because at the end of the comic, the 2 guys, they try and go get published, they realize they can't get published in a Japanese anthology, then they go to American publishers, and They have all the reasons in the world why nobody wants to see this. But, you know, the millions upon millions of people who, like, read stuff like, you know, Naruto or One Piece each week, you know, argue differently. But, yeah, kind of funny, because there was a manga boom, like, a couple years ago, where you had, like, publishers like Tokyo Pop and whatnot springing up. But, well, remember that panel we went to, Scott? Where, Diamond?
Yeah, the problem was they basically glutted the market with everything rather than picking and choosing what they know would do well in an American market and an international market. They just didn't really pay attention to it and just grabbed everything they could get their hands on, including things that didn't go over well in Japan either. They just took whatever they could because giant eyes and funny colored hair. Clearly this will do well.
Yeah, but not every American really wants to read Bowling King or, you know, the ice climbing manga. Or, you know, the millions and millions of sub-niches that can, like, you know, thrive in Japan. Or, you know, even the 40-year-old salaryman can, like, you know, read a little anthology with no shame versus here where, you know, most people, like, try and hide their comic books, you know, on the bus.
Yeah. So when you were creating the first chapter for your Kickstarter page, how did you actually come up with the strange storyline concept of, well, primarily puppies, very scary puppies?
A lot of that was just trying to boil the genre, trying to boil shonen manga down into its most basic components of, you have to have a hero, he has to thrive on friendship, love, and justice, and he has to go beat the ever-living crap out of something for a purpose greater than himself. And usually this involves protecting people, his friends, his family, random groups of villagers, or a city that he's just barely met and has forged some unbreakable emotional connection to. And the one thing that everybody loves is puppies. No one wants to see puppies hurt. So obviously, if you really want to boil it down to its most basic components, you know, rather than try and forge an emotional connection with villagers or anything else, just boil it down to don't kick puppies.
Yeah. Find the cutest possible thing that you don't want to see harmed, and, you know, just, like, go for the throat of you know, the audience's sympathies. But, you know,
Yeah,
one thing.
Yeah.
And this is equally useful for constructing a straw man villain, because as soon as you see someone kick a puppy, they're obviously a bad person. So, if you're going to construct a simple, easy to understand, well, basically shonen-style villain that is evil and clearly needs to be punched in the face, just have him kick puppies.
The fun we had with that is that, like, you know, our guy, the main guy, Hero, is, you know, kind of awkward and not very good at it. So, of course, you know, he gains the wrath of the puppies before he eventually, you know, connects with them through the power of friendship.
Right.
And you know, the whole thing about most shonen manga pilots, because, you know, the way they usually work is that, like, a magazine will have a one-shot, and depending on the response, they'll decide whether or not they want to serialize it. And no matter what your favorite series is, all the pilots kind of suck, because they all, like, boil down to this. They're all terrible. I can't think of, like, one series that I, you know, really love now that I've been like, oh my god, this pilot is so incredible, I can't wait. There's, like, only one or two. It's like, there are very few Breaking Bad. I mean, you can almost say that's the way for television shows as well, that, like, you know, for long-term serialized stories, you need, you know, to develop a voice, you need that time to walk around. So we figured we'd try and do something that, like, you know, do these conventions with, like, you know, the awful strawman villain who's two-dimensionally awful and nasty, and, you know, have him beat puppies.
Pretty much.
And are the characters that we see on the Kickstarter page characters that will be in the series, or like the what are they called? The diabetic gang?
You won't be seeing the diabetic gang again. They're just like one-shot villains, like most one-shot villains.
That is one of the things that you always we see in most shonen manga as well, you have that first initial villain that takes a hard punch to the face just to show how incredibly awesome and overwhelmingly kick-ass your lead character is. With Naruto, it was Mizuki, and with Bleach, it was just some random
generic hollow. And then One Piece, Luffy. Well, wasn't he? He was the sea monster, I guess. You could almost say it was the sea monster / bandits.
I thought it was Avadra.
Oh yeah, that's right. Well, it's a little complicated.
They basically all share the same general thing of being really generic, really,
I like to be evil for the sake of being evil.
Yeah, pretty much. And once you've established the dominance of your main character by punching a villain in the face for clearly good reasons, then they basically never see that group again, and they go off adventuring and do more important things.
And
which is what we were poking fun of in the pilot of, you need to get reader attention as fast as you can, go find something evil, and just beat the hell out of it. Then we can start the series.
Exactly. Like, just to give you a taste of, because we have, other additional scripts to come after. We always like to come prepared. Just a matter of finding money to commission the art for those set scripts. But the idea is that, after the pilot, him and Elder Sensei, they go off to the actual Shonen King tournament, they try and register. But they find out that they can't get in because, they need a team. They need to fulfill the certain archetypes. They need a mascot, heroine, badass, comedic relief. So then the first sort of major story arc is them trying to go find people to fulfill those roles so they can register.
That sounds good. I like that. Actually having to go out and find these people is a good twist on it rather than just bumping into them along the way.
I mean, that's how it usually works. They usually just sort of bump into them along the way. I've always, put it clear out. Here's a little chart. This is what you need to proceed. You got to fill all the, quadrants, and then they sort of, in their own haphazardly way, for an example, one of the things they try and do is they want a mascot, so they go to a mascot emporium, which is like a Petco with filled with all kinds of cute Pokemon critters, but then realize that they don't have any money and can't afford it because Pokemon are expensive.
Yeah. 2 seconds, mate. 2 seconds. Sorry about that.
That's alright.
And will we be seeing in the continuing story any more of the puppies and the armour made of puppies and things like that in it? Or is that just going to be the general humour throughout? Although I do hope you return the armour made of puppies again, because that was an amusing one.
We might find some way to do a callback or some way to bring them back in. But as of right now, the puppy armor, not coming too soon, but, there's more fertile ground, more jokes, more great characters we want to introduce.
Yeah, and that's usually one of the other things you see so often in Shonen is after forging this great, unshakable emotional bond with whatever they happen to be protecting at the time, the people usually just go and wander off, and they never mention it again, except in emotional flashbacks.
Always in the emotional
flashbacks.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, Fists of the North Star, the classic shonen manga anime that everyone loves. Once Kenshiro goes to protect a village of small children, it's not like he's going to stick with those children and help them. No, he's got to go continue wandering the wastelands to find more evil to make space explodes. Nobody wants to. Although I would absolutely love to see someone just try to do really long parody of just this one guy who just stays in a village and helps them farm and just and then despite the fact he's like a superhero.
I think my personal favorite example is actually out of One Piece, and usually One Piece is really good at doing callbacks and bringing things back. But my personal favorite example is this freaking whale lagoon. they forge this great emotional connection. It's really important because he was left there. He misses his crew that he used to hang around with so much, and he misses these pirates. And eventually they find one of the crew that used to hang around with him. He died, came back. His name was Brooke. But here's the problem. You never really look back in shonen. You always keep punching forward. And so at one point there's this 2-year time skip where the heroes just go wandering off doing whatever they want, and the character in question, Brooke, goes off and becomes like this rock star type character. But the thing is, you had 2 years. You could have easily gone back and visited this whale that apparently you have this incredible emotional attachment to and are constantly whining that you never get to go see. You had 2 years, dude. 2 years just screwing off and putting on concerts. So, no, you never really look back. And that's sort of part of, I guess, the appeal of shonen, is there's always this power creep forward. And once you go save something, everybody loves you, and you don't really have to stick around and deal with any of the consequences there.
Exactly, like, not that, like, Game of Thrones has anything to do with shonen, but, like, if you look at, like, the inverse of that story is, like, Daenerys in, like, the third book, she saves the big slave city, and, the logical thing that in book 5 is pretty much, telling her, you should really get the hell out of there, go back to Westeros, that's where you belong, but now she's like, no, I'm gonna be responsible, I'm gonna go help this culture that I saved, and doesn't push forward, and then everything just goes horribly wrong.
Yeah, and basically, in shonen, you never stick around really long enough to see the consequences of the knockdown, drag-out, city-destroying fight you might have just had in the middle of a major metropolitan area, or out in the middle of the wasteland if you're a little more conscientious about it, but you never really bother to stick around to deal with, well, great, we've just destroyed the evil villain, and now there's a power vacuum. Nah, screw that. Let's just go wander off. There's something more important. There is clearly a better goal we have to be reaching, and I do not have time to sit around here and fix whatever horrible political problems I have just created. And of course, there's never any consequences for this.
No.
Of course, they have to go on. The great hierarchy that shonen manga usually follows is it always rushes towards the punch in the face clause. It's just at the end of the series, you will eventually have the ultimate supreme Satan villain, and he will basically be whatever that form, whatever that manga's form of the highest deity it can be, and then the hero has to punch him in the face.
Because he's being a dick.
Yeah, exactly. Because he's being a like the 700 plus chapters of Naruto are finally, we're finally up to the punch god in the face clause, where you have the final villain. He's attained the power of the sage of the sixth path, the closest thing to a deity that universe has, and now they've got to punch him in the face. and you can look at it in the other series, although the beautiful idea is that, like, after we eventually get the team together, is that they go in the tournament, because the whole idea is that they want to become the flagship characters of sort of Shonen Jump style magazine, and because the main Shonen Jump was basically like a parody of Goku and Dragon Ball Z. He's just finished up his run, so they're doing an all-out brawl to determine who can be the next flagship character. And hopefully the Kickstarter goes well. We'll slowly be able to make our way to that journey.
How did you go about creating the Kickstarter campaign and getting it up onto Kickstarter?
That's the easiest part. The hardest part was finding the artwork.
Yeah, just putting the video together was fairly simple. Like I said, really most Kickstarter videos are just terrible, and ours really isn't that much of an exception.
Yeah, it's pretty bad, but the only difference is that we knew it was bad, so we set the bar pretty low and designed it so basically it was like, don't watch this video, go read the comic.
Yeah.
So for the comic, we basically slowly over a period of several months, we had this artist commissioned, and we would get pages back, look them over, approve them, pay the man for them, and slowly amassed this small collection of pages which we put up on the Kickstarter. We did our video, which unfortunately, because we both live, I live down south a ways, about 4 hours away from my writing partner, who lives up in New York.
No, not in New York, like New Jersey, just outside of New York. Oh, close enough.
But so unfortunately, we had this problem of we couldn't really get up to see each other because neither one of us has a ton of money, which is why we're kickstarting this rather than just dumping funds onto it. So we basically both ended up filming our pieces separate and just hacking them together in it's like Windows Media Maker or something.
Yeah, Windows Movie Maker.
It's fairly low budget. We didn't have a ton of money to approach this Kickstarter with, and most of our money was sunk into artwork for the pilot.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, anyone can post anything on Kickstarter. But like our big, it's like we figured that our big special effect is going to be the artwork. So that's where we pretty much post most of our time and effort into.
And you asked for $1,500 on the Kickstarter campaign. What will that be used for?
Basically, our idea is to ultimately run this as a webcomic. So the way we figure it is that, I've watched a lot of Kickstarter videos in preparation for this, and the one thing to understand about Kickstarter is that, like, if you're a creator and you have a certain base, not everyone can be like Zach Braff or Veronica Mars. Like, if you go in expecting just to get $100,000, you're gonna lose, you're gonna fail. You need a supported base of work and an already proven fan base. So we figured that we're gonna aim, as reasonable as possible. So basically, the $1,500 will be able to commission 52 more pages, which we'll do one update a week, so we can have like a year's of content on our own website as a traditional webcomic. And if we get more than that, we have stretch goals to, make it maybe do 2 updates a week, or 3, or possibly get it in color. But, all those things cost money, so we just wanted to have our goals and expectations to be as realistic as possible.
Yeah, I mean, basically everything we're getting is going directly to artwork.
Yeah, exactly. Pay Erwin Rosada, the wonderfully talented artist who's, done the artwork thus far. And won an award recently.
Yeah, we actually did get really lucky with him. He's been wonderful. He did actually win an award recently, and
I think we in the Kickstarter itself, we have like the video that was made of like his award-winning comic.
Wasn't he commissioned for the Monsuno Adam?
Yeah, he did like one of the issues of the. Yeah, he did I think the first issue of the Monsuno, trade graphic novel or whatnot. So he's a great artist. Who's probably for great things. It's funny. There's like a huge growing talent of people who aren't Japanese who do like manga style comics, and it's just getting more and more diverse each year.
Yeah. So basically, all money is going to pay that guy.
Yeah, that's exactly what we're doing. To, make it worth his while to keep doing the comics. He's a great artist, but he's not free. No, that's the thing about talented artists. They know what they're worth.
Mm-hmm.
And what are the different tiers that people can choose from when pledging towards Shonen King?
We've got a lot of most of our tiers. Like we've got a few physical awards. Like if you check out our update, we got the laser burn puppy keychain, so you can have the puppy helmet to guard over your keys. We even have a cute little dumb mini comic to go along with that. But I'd say the more interesting stuff is like the ones where you can actually be in the comic. We've got a lot of background characters. We've got a lot of background characters with lines of dialogue. So one of those can be yours, and we can put your face in there. And, you can put on your official Grant Morrison sponsored fiction suit and come into the comic itself.
Some of the higher tiers involve getting sneak peeks, like, $50. Gets you the papercraft figurine, specifically, background character dialogue. But once you start getting up there, you start being able to get access to all our notes. We have like the entire first arc plotted out, so if you want to see what's coming up, what the other characters will be, all that kind of stuff, those are the kind of higher tiers that you're looking at.
Yeah, basically you get to like, mainly because we don't live within close proximity. Mainly we communicate through instant messenger. We're probably the only people nowadays who use instant messenger. Like the last two on that archaic platform where everyone does Facebook chat or Google chat, and our main method of work is we work in Google Docs. So we can we'll invite you to come to one of our sessions or come check out the docs and read through it.
And where can people go to find out more about you guys and Shonen King?
Obviously the Kickstarter page, Shonen King on Kickstarter. Look it up. And if you can't find that, try Isaac Shapiro, Shonen King on Kickstarter.
Thank you very much, Isaac Shapiro and Scott Ferguson, for talking to us about your Kickstarter comic book project, Shonen King.
Thank you so much for having us on your show.